Simultaneous equations involving substitution. This is a very popular style exam question in a Core 1 paper. It's often worth between 6 or 7 marks, which means a good chunk of your 75 marks available. Now we're going to solve 3x plus y equals 7 and xy plus x squared equals 6. Now, because it's an x squared, we're pretty much guaranteed there'll probably be 2 sets of solutions that satisfy these 2 equations. So, the easiest way to solve this is we're going to rearrange this top equation. So instead of having 3x plus y equals 7, we're going to rearrange this to make y the subject. So, to do that, we're going to subtract 3x from both sides to make y equals 7 minus 3x. You could of course write that as minus 3x plus 7. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this equation we've just rearranged and substitute it into our other equation. Xy plus x squared equals 6. That will then mean that in this equation we'll only have one variable, we'll only have the x, because wherever y is, we are going to replace it by 7 minus 3x. Now in the equation here, it only appears once, so we've only got to substitute it in once. But on some questions you may have to do it more than once, so just be careful. So, x. So here we go, instead of putting y, we're going to put 7 minus 3x plus x squared equals 6. Now, to solve this, it's going to be a quadratic because we've got an x squared here, and when we expand this we're going to end up with an x squared. We're going to rearrange this to make it equal to 0. So, firstly, let's expand this bracket. So, x times 7 is 7x, x times 3x is 3x squared, plus x squared equals 6. Now, we need to just sort this out a bit first. So we're going to have 7x minus 2x squared, because minus 3x add 1x squared is minus 2x squared equals 6. Now we want to rearrange this now so we've got it equal to 0. So first step is I would probably, because this is a negative x squared, I'm probably going to make it so it's a positive 2x squared by adding 2x squared to both sides, which will eliminate it from this side and move it over to this side. So, firstly, add 2x squared to both sides. So on this left hand side now, I'm now just left with 7x, and that's equal to 2x squared plus 6. Finally, next step is to subtract 7x from both sides, so we're left with 2x squared plus 6 minus 7x equals 0. So take away 7x from both sides, minus 7x minus 7x. Now we've got an equation that's equal to 0. So 0 equals 2x squared minus 7x plus 6. Now, we want to check to see if we can divide through by 2, which we can't, so we're going to have to factorise this with a 2x squared. So it's going to be a 2x in one bracket and an x in the other. So 0 equals, so it's, as I said, it's going to be 2x and an x. Now, key thing here is we've got a plus 6 at the end, but a minus 7x. So remember, 2 negative numbers multiplied by each other give you a positive answer. Okay, so these are both going to be negatives. Now, just a little side note over here on the left hand side, numbers at times go to make 6 are 1 and 6 or 2 and 3. So which pair will make 7? Remember, minus 7. Remember, 1 is going to be a 1 is going to be multiplied by 2. So, firstly, minus 1 times 2 would be minus 2. Take away 6 would be minus 8. So that won't work. And it certainly won't work if minus 6 is multiplied by 2. Let's try the other one. So minus 2 times 2 is minus 4. And minus 3 would still be there. And that's minus 7. So what's happening is this minus 2 has got to go in this bracket here, because it can be times by 2. So here is the 2, and there's the 3. Now we can solve to find out what the 2x values are. So remember, we're thinking what value makes this bracket equal to 0? Well, that is x equals 2. And we're also thinking what value makes this bracket equal to 0. So remember, that's 2x minus 3 equals 0. So it would be 2x equals 3. So x is 3 over 2. We don't need to convert that to 1.5. Now, we've got our x components. We now need to find out what our y components are. Now, the best way to do that is to substitute it into one of our two equations. Now, I personally wouldn't pick this bottom one because it's got x squareds in it. I would pick the top one, and I'd probably even pick our rearranged one, because we're left with y on its own. So we're going to substitute both our values for x into y equals 7 minus 3x. So y equals 7 minus 3x. I usually like to split my page in two here. So on the left hand side, let's do the easier one, which is sub x equals 2 in. And then this one's going to be sub x equals 3 over 2 in. Remember, we're subbing them both into 7 minus 3x. So y equals 7 minus 3 times 2, which is 6, so y equals 1. So that set of coordinates is 2, 1 on the right hand side. So y equals 7 minus 3 times 3 over 2. So that becomes 9 over 2. Because 3 times 3 is 9. Now that's 4.5. So 7 minus 4.5, that is 2.5. Which is the same as 5 over 2. So we've got 3 over 2, 5 over 2. Now, if you've got time in your exam, it's definitely worthwhile checking these two values by substituting them into the other equation we were given in the first place.